Okay, so this is session number 6, and today's topic is Swadharma, formula for success and contentment. So let's start with revision. So in the last session, we discussed about how to change the habits, and we started by illustrating the benefits of implementing this knowledge in day-to-day life and what Bhagwan has to say about it. And Bhagwan says that if you implement this, you will be successful in both the materialistic world as well as you will progress on your spiritual journey. So we went through all these sessions, and like there are many people who don't implement this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. It's available to everybody, but majority of people don't practice this knowledge. And we discussed few of the reasons. One is overdose of knowledge. Like this knowledge is available not only this knowledge, lot of knowledge is available these days on the net. So you don't have to even travel outside the house. So there is overdose of knowledge, and the entire focus is on acquiring the knowledge, but not so much on its implementation. Then, uh, if you have to practice this knowledge, then there needs some changes in the way you behave, the way you transact during your day to day. And most people are happy in their comfort zone. They don't want to make any changes. But the most important reason we discussed was about old patterns or habits. And then these old patterns and habits don't allow us to make any changes to our life. Just a moment. Sorry, I'll have to take this. Hello. Huh? Some. Just a moment. Sorry. Sorry. So one of the reasons, like most important reason, is our old patterns and habits, which actually shackle us and don't allow us to make any changes to our daily life. And these are like one most important reason why we are not able to practice this. And the example we discussed was like we want to become fit, we want to get up in the morning and go for exercise, but then we are caught up in this pattern or habit of like sleeping late during the day. And we want to actually change this habit, but we are unable to change this because of these old patterns. So we discuss some of these techniques as to how one can break these patterns or habits. And the technique we discussed was like first thought will always be according to the pattern. So when the alarm goes, the first thought will always be to press the snooze button and continue sleeping for some more time. So that is the first thought. But as we discussed, there is a split second between the thought and action. And if we use this gap between the thought and action to uh, to generate or to raise another thought, then we may be able to change this pattern of ours. And we discussed how we can effectively use this gap. And one of the ways was to change the perception of pleasure and pain. We perform some action based on our perception of pain and pleasure. And when we keep doing it based on our likes and dislikes, it develops into a pattern, and then it becomes difficult to break the pattern. So if we are able to get some another thought in this gap, then we may be able to change and we may be able to break free from the pattern. The other thing that we can do is like remember about the goal, because usually what happens is uh, the first thought, as I said, is according to the pattern. So if we have to get another thought, then we have to remember the goal for which we are doing that action. And if we are able to remember that, if we are inspired by that goal, then only we will be able to rise above our likes or dislikes and break this pattern. And one of the things that can facilitate this is the technique of introspection, where every day before going to bed you run through all the events that happened during the day, and like try to evaluate yourself, judge yourself as to whether you acted according to the knowledge or again you went into your old patterns. So one has to run through all the events during the day and judge ourselves. And if we keep doing this, then slowly the changes will happen, because most of the times we know what is to be done before the event and after the event. But during the event, we have no access to this knowledge. So this practice of introspection every day will help us improve in this regard, and we will be able to practice this knowledge, break free from our patterns, and progress both spiritually as well as materialistically. So this was the revision of the last session. So today we are going to discuss about Swadharma. And in Bhagavad Gita, like there are two shlokas which are unique in the sense that the first line of both the shlokas is same, exactly same. And these are these two shlokas. Okay, let me first put this both the shlokas. So if you can see, the first line of both the shlokas is same, and if it is like such a unique thing, then it must be very, very important shloka. So this is shloka 35 from chapter 3 and shloka 47 from chapter 18, where first line is same. So let's chant both these shlokas and try to understand the meaning of these two shlokas. So first 3.35, श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः. So the meaning is, one's own duty, though defective, is superior to another's duty well performed. Death is better while engaged in one's own duty. Another's duty is fraught with fear and danger. So that is shloka number 35. And I underlined the word dharma here. And there are four places where that in the first shloka itself where we have this dharma word. So we will discuss this dharma word in detail. And shloka number 47 of chapter 18, again the first line is same. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushtitat स्वभावनियतं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्. So first line is same. Second line means by performing a duty as dictated by one's own nature, one does not incur sin. So this dharma word, as I said, is like it's coming again and again in both the shlokas. So let's discuss this word dharma. So when you dharma word in Sanskrit has like different meanings. So the first meaning, and which we all know, is religion. The dharma also means righteousness. So being dharmic means being righteous, carrying out all the righteous actions. The third is duty, dharma as a duty. And the last one is dharma as a nature. So the chapter 3 shloka, here dharma means duty. So Bhagavan says one has to do his duties and avoid doing duty of another person. And shloka in 18th chapter, here dharma means nature. So Bhagavan here is saying that when you are doing duty, you do it as dictated by one's own nature, and that is what is Swadharma. So, when we talk about dharma as a duty, then we need to understand what exactly is meant by duty, because lot of times we get confused about our duty. So there are two things on which primarily this duty depends upon. The first is role. Like we play various roles in our life. Sometimes I am father, sometimes I am son, I am also brother to somebody. When I go to office, I may be the supervisor or I may be reporting to my boss. So these are different roles and the duty is always associated with the role. So when I am father, there are specific duties attached to this role of a father. So that is how duty is defined when it comes to role. The second is life stage that we are in. So, according to Vedanta, we have like four life stages or ashramas. The first is Brahmacharya ashram. Second is, first Brahmacharya ashram. Here, your duty is to study. Second is Vanaprasthashram, which is like householder's life. And there, your responsibility is taking care of your family and like earning money for the welfare of the family. Third is Vanaprasthashram, where like in this life stage, you start detaching from the world and preparing for the last ashram, which is sannyas ashram, where your duty is to seek Bhagavan or seek the truth. So, duty also depends upon your life stage. So, somebody who's a student, his primary duty is to study. Then the duties also come based on situations. Like when we are walking on the road, if we see some accident, then it's our duty to help the person who's impacted in that accident. And these are duties which are based on a particular situation. We also have social duties because we live in a society. So when we use resources which are meant for the entire society, shared by many people, it's our responsibility to keep that place clean when we are in that place, maybe a park or maybe a train. Like we need to make sure that we don't litter up the place. We also maintain some decorum, like we cannot talk very loudly. So these are social duties. And Bhagavan says, refrain from doing others' duty. So this is also a message for Arjuna because we saw that in the chapter 1 where he is presenting all kinds of arguments to run away from the battlefield. He says that I would rather live on arms, like I will give up all this world and I I will live on arms. Now, this living of on arms is the duty of a sannyasi, where Arjuna in the battlefield was a Kshatriya. So when he says, I will perform these duties, which are actually the duties of sannyasi, is trying to do somebody else's duties. That's why Bhagavan is clearly telling Arjuna that you should do your own duties. And at that point in time, his duty was to fight his enemies and establish righteousness. And Other thing is he should refrain from doing others' duties. Now, in the just last session, we discussed about using this gap between the thought and action, and this is to be used to transcend our lives, likes and dislikes, like rise above our likes. So, one of the things we can also do is like we can remember our duty and do what is prescribed as per our duty, and not perform action which is based on our likes and dislikes. So this is the details about dharma as a duty. And as I said, chapter 18, this dharma has another connotation, which is nature, one's own nature. We already chanted this shloka. So Bhagavan here is saying that you should perform your actions or duties as per your own nature. And here the word that is coming and which I have underlined is Swadharma. And the root of this Swadharma is Swabhava Niyatam Karma, which means actions driven by one's own nature. Now, like everyone is born with some inherent tendencies which may be positive as well as negative. And in last session, we discussed about these negative tendencies which which actually make us like a robot and repeat old patterns again and again. But then there are like positive tendencies also, and Bhagavan says like if you use these positive tendencies, you use your swadharma, the actions that are driven by one's own nature, then you will be successful in all your materialistic endeavors, and you will also progress on your spiritual path. So, what are these activities? We know that something we are naturally good at some things. Like we know this about sportsmen or the artist like Lata Mangeshkar. She loved music, singing, and she was inherently good and from her childhood, and she used to enjoy this singing. So, singing was her swadharma. We also know Vishwanathan Anand, like he he developed liking for chess at a very very young age, and that was his swadharma. That's why we also have child prodigy who are like good at certain things at a very, very young age. And that is what is Swadharma. So Bhagavan says, if you perform all your actions according to your Swadharma, then that is a formula for your success. So Swadharma, like we will see this in detail, how so if you have to find out this the swadharma, what you are naturally good at, then we need to understand a little bit more about what this swadharma is. So in this shloka in chapter 4 and shloka number 13, Bhagavan himself tells us about these four types of people. Let me first chant and then we will discuss this in detail. चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्मविभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्यकर्तारमव्ययम्. So the meaning of this shloka is the fourfold varna has been created by me according to the differentiation of guna and karma. Though I am the creator, know me as non-doer and immutable. So Bhagavan says, in this world I have created four types of people, and these are created according to their gunas primarily and then also their karma. So guna and karma. And what are these four types of people? We will see that also. So in chapter number 18, shloka number 41, Bhagavan lists these 4 types of people. So let me chant this shloka. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranam Cha Parantapa Karmani Pravibhaktani Swabhava Prabhavair Gunaihi. So, what are these 4 types of people? Bhagavan says the duties of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras are clearly divided, O Arjuna, according to gunas born of their nature. So Bhagavan says, I have created these 4 types of people, and these 4 types have been created based on their gunas, their natural tendencies. So, what are these natural tendencies and what are these gunas? We will discuss in detail so that we are able to understand how these 4 types of people are created by Bhagavan. So, what are these gunas? Okay. The 4 types of personalities or the 4 classes of people Bhagavan has created. The first is we call them Brahmin, or in generic terms, we can call them intellectuals, and they are good at planning, strategy, teaching. Okay, so these are their inherent tendencies. The second type of people are Kshatriyas, or we can call leaders, who are good in managing the people, who are good at administrative affairs, and those are Kshatriyas or leaders. The third is Vaishya or businessmen, who are good at managing money, managing finances. And the fourth type of people are Shudra or worker, and they are physically strong and they are good at execution, but they cannot think independently. So they are most of the times followers. Whatever instructions you give them, they are good at execution. So they will execute those instructions to the T. So these are Shudra. So Bhagavan says that these are the 4 types of people in this world. And what he emphasizes is these are purely based on guna and karma, and they are not based on birth. Because when we hear these words, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, immediately we think about the caste system. But we understood from Bhagavan that this is not like based on birth. Whichever family you are born, you can fall in any of these categories. And that was the original way the classification was done. But later on, like uh, it got uh, it got corrupted, and like people with selfish interest came up with this philosophy of like this classification to be continued based on birth. So you are born in a particular family, then you are born with that type of person, but that was not the original intention. This classification is purely based on the gunas. So we'll see what these gunas are. And like actually these are 4 types of people, but none of the category is superior or inferior to other. Because if you really look at it, every society needs these 4 types of people. Like we need people who are good at thinking, they are good in planning and strategy. So if we have to build some project, then we definitely need people who are good thinkers, planning and strategy. Then we also need people who are leaders, because there will be lot of people, a big group of people involved in this project, and we need people who can manage this rest of the people and drive them or work towards a particular goal. So these are leaders. So every society needs these leaders also. And then like third type, which is businessmen, who are people who are good at handling money, good at finance. Because there are a lot of ideas, almost like a dozen ideas for a penny, but one needs to bring those ideas into implementation. And any idea, like if any project, money is important because we can sustain that project only we have all the resources, and money is one of the important resource in this. So we definitely need these people who are good at money and finance. And the last category is the worker or Shudra, which, as I said, are physically very healthy people and they are good in execution, but they are followers. And any project, we also need ground level workers who have an important role to play in the execution and successful completion of any project. So all these four types of people are required, and there is nothing like inferior or one class is superior or inferior to other. And as I said, like these are four personalities, and they also indicate four types of Swadharma. So one needs to find out like which category I belong to in these four types, because that gives me an indication as to what is my Swadharma. And as I said, if you choose a profession or choose a career, maybe for your kids or your grandkids, like if you understand like how this classification is done, we may be able to help them in choosing a particular career. So these four types also indicate four types of Swadharma. So since we said that these are based on gunas, we will have to understand a little bit about gunas. Okay. So in this world, there are five elements, like the everything in this world, all the like infinite objects in this world are created by five elements. What are these five elements? First is uh, space, then comes air, then vayu. Sorry. First is air, then uh, first is space, then air, then fire, then water, and then earth. And we saw like the first, which is space, it can be perceived only by sound because uh, only sound travels on space. Then when we go to the next one, which is air, it is air we can hear as well as we can feel. So two sense organs are required to perceive this second element. So everything in this world is made up from these five elements. Their percentage differs from object to object, and based on this various permutation and combination of these five elements, the infinite objects of this world are created. And similar to these five elements, there are three gunas, and everything in this world is also pervaded by these three gunas. And this, what are these three gunas? Like they have distinct characteristics. The first guna is sattva, and whose distinct characteristic is knowledge. The second is rajas, whose distinct characteristic is activity. And third is tamas, which is whose distinctive characteristic is inertia. And I also color coded that like sattva is white, rajas is red, and tamas is black. So, what are these gunas and how they operate? Like, as I said, each guna has a distinct characteristic. We have already discussed this. And all three gunas exist in each object or being, but their proportion keeps changing, and it keeps changing every moment. So, you can say minute to minute, the proportion of these gunas change, and at any point in time, whichever guna is predominant, our behavior is determined by that predominant guna. And as I said, already said these are the distinctive characteristics. Sattva is knowledge, rajas activity, and tamas inertia. So whichever guna is predominant, our mood changes. Like sometimes, like we are in a very good mood, we want to learn something, and if we really read something or watch some video, we are able to understand everything. So you can understand, you can know that at that point in time, sattva guna is predominant. And distinctive characteristic of sattva guna is knowledge. That's why we are able to grasp everything when sattva guna is predominant. Whereas sometimes we don't want to sit idle, we want to do something. And we also see like some people who are like who want to do something all the time. Even if they are waiting somewhere, they will fiddle with their pen or like keep shaking their leg. So this is the indication that rajas guna at that point in time is predominant. That's why we want to carry out some activity. And the third is sometimes for no reason we are quite gloomy and dull. We don't want to do anything. So you can know that at that point in time, tamas is predominant. And that's why that inertia is evident. We don't want to do anything. So even though we cannot see these gunas, we can feel its effects. And our activity, any activity we carry out, like it is determined by the predominance of guna at that point in time. And as I said, these gunas keep changing, their proportion keeps changing. So during the day also our moods keep changing. But for a particular person, one particular guna will be predominant most of the times. And based on that, we call people sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. There are some people who just cannot sit idle. Whole day they want to do some activity. So those we can say are rajasic people. So we cannot see gunas, but we can feel their effect in terms of moods. And so every person, as I said, has predominance of a particular guna for most of the times, and that indicates sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic tendency. Little bit more discussion on these gunas, and if we really compare it with a vehicle, then we can say like a car needs ignition to start the car. So we can say that rajas is that guna, because if rajas is there, then we will be able to start an activity. In the absence of rajas, we will not be able to initiate any activity. The second is in the car, once the car starts by ignition, then it has to, like we have to put our leg on the accelerator in order to keep the car moving. So similarly, once you start an activity with rajas, you need sattva to keep it going. And like we also experience that sometimes we start some activity with great enthusiasm. We do it for 1 or 2 days and it just stops. And the reason is we don't have enough sattva to continue to sustain that activity. So sattva is something which sustains an activity. And lastly, like if we want to stop the car, we need to use brake. And tamas is the guna which actually puts end to all the activities. And at the end of the day, like before going to sleep, we need to put an end to all activities. So that time, if tamas is not predominant, we find it very difficult to get a sleep. Like if we have been very busy during the day, we have been thinking of some activity all the time, or we are busy in doing that activity, then we find it very difficult to sleep, because even when we go to sleep, like we keep getting dreams of the same activity. And the reason is even though we have gone to sleep, the rajas is still predominant, and that's why we find it difficult to sleep. So this is the three gunas and their primary characteristics, and like some additional personality traits of these gunas. So sattva, indicated by white color, the primary trait of this is knowledge. But then in addition to that, there are other traits also, other distinctive characteristics, which are purity, compassion, love, faith, equanimity, and memory. The second is rajas. The primary distinctive characteristic is activity. Along with it, there are other traits also, which is ambition, restlessness. As I said, if rajas is predominant, we can't sit quiet. Sleep. We can't sit quiet. We are restless that time. There is haste. There is it also indicated by anger, jealousy, and greed. So this is about additional traits of rajas. And finally, tamasic, which is indicated by inactivity, inertia, and other characteristics are lethargy. We just don't want to do anything, carelessness, laziness, forgetfulness, ignorance, and violence. So when tamas is predominant, we will find it very difficult to learn something. Okay, so these are the personality traits of the three gunas, and they are indicated by three different colors. So, how does this relate to Swadharma? We will see that now. Okay. Okay, last is food. Food is also classified as sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. So, sattvic food is like the food which generates more energy than is required to digest that food. So, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, milk, cow milk is considered to be sattvic, whereas rajasic is fried food, oily food, food which has a lot of masalas, and the examples are here. Okay, and tamasic is something which like makes you dull, and obviously like non-veg food or alcohol, they fall under this tamasic food. So now we will see like how these four types of people are classified based on these gunas. So I have put a flower with petals, and like the first one, Brahman or intellectual category. Here, Sattva guna indicated by white petals is predominant. So approximately like such a person will have 60% of Sattva, 30% of Rajas, and only 10% tamas. Since sattva guna is predominant, they are good thinkers, they are able to understand different concepts. So the people in this class, in this category, the ideal profession for them will be teachers, planners, advisors, or consultant. So 60% tamas, 30% rajas, and 10% tamas. Did I say correctly? 60% sattva, 30% rajas, 10% tamas. And second class of people, which is kshatriyas and leaders. Here, like since they have to lead the people, rajas is in predominance. It is 60% rajas, 30% sattva, and only 10% tamas. But here, along with rajas, sattva is also predominant, so that they are in professions which are actually for the welfare of all. They maintain the discipline in the society. So the ideal profession for this class of people will be army, police, administration. So they are not selfish. They are doing it in the interest of the society. They are leading so that the society adheres to its values, maintains discipline. The third is Vaishya or businessman. Again, here Rajas is predominant, 60% Rajas, but here Sattva is only 10% and 30% is Tamas. So they are somewhat selfish people. For whatever they do, it is in their own interest. So the category, like the professions here are trader, merchant, or broker who earn money for themselves through these professions. And last is Shudra or worker category, where the tamas guna is predominant, so they cannot think on their own. So this is 60% tamas, 30% rajas, and 10% sattva. So as we said, they are only followers. They cannot think independently. So the people who are good at thinking, planning, whatever plan they prepare, they are this worker category, they are managed by these leaders and they are able to execute this plan. So the professions that are good for them are labor, being a clerk, or in today's world, like we have these IT companies where testers are required, who are given the testing plan and they just have to execute that plan and find the bugs in the system. So these are the four category of people, four types of people, and also four types of swadharma. And again, like I am repeating, society needs all four types. So there is nothing, none of this profession is superior or inferior to others. All four are required in any society. And then these are based on your inherent tendencies and not on your birth. You may be born in any family. You can be Brahman, you can be Kshatriya, that is, you can be intellectual or you can be a leader. It is not at all based on birth. It is totally based on your inherent tendencies and other indicators, because one has to find his swadharma on his own. These are only indicators, and other ways are the like you can find out what is your liking, because this is the subject which gives you joy. So whenever like you have free time, you will try to collect more knowledge about this. So you pursue it even in your leisure time. If you have just sitting idle and nothing to do, we you will most probably like try to engage yourself in this particular subject, and you just get joy in working that in that particular field, and you are actually no may not be interested even in like what is the remuneration that you will get in this particular field, and you have no expectation from like engaging in that particular field. So these are like subtler ways in which you can find your swadharma. Try to find out, like most people don't like the sooner you find this swadharma, you will be able to enjoy life, because you will choose a profession accordingly and you will enjoy that profession and you will be successful. So, like this can also be used to decide your choice of studies for like further like higher studies and also the profession. But nowadays, like people choose study or profession based on like what is the demand for this profession, what kind of salary or income you can expect from this profession, or the glamour that is associated with that profession, and not much consideration for what is your inherent liking or inherent tendencies. And sometimes like people like there are families who have their ancestral profession, like there are doctors, lawyers, and they want their child also to be in the same profession. Actually the child may have liking for something else, but like you force the child to get into that profession because of different considerations, And when that happens, the child actually suffers because study becomes boring. You are not interested in that subject. So you find it very difficult to understand that subject. And then that results in poor performance in terms of marks in the exam. And then the child develops a low esteem. He feels that he is no good at all. And like he has to take a lot of effort to study and to pass the exams. And after doing this, like if he continues in that profession which is not according to his liking, then he doesn't enjoy that profession also. Profession becomes laborious. Life is a toy. Whereas when you choose a study or profession based on your swadharma, your inherent tendencies, your inherent likes, then study becomes interesting. You enjoy the study so that as a result, you get good marks, you excel in study, and when you get good marks, your confidence also gets a boost. And when you choose a profession according to your swadharma, you enjoy the work. And work is a play, it's a recreation. You never like feel tired in that profession, even though you are putting long hours. So that is the difference, your difference this finding swadharma can make for your further studies or for the profession. And this is like I had taken this session in one of the colleges, and some students sent me this drawing. Can you see this? It says,
Yeah.
when you love dance and drawing, but your parents forcefully admitted you in science stream, then what happens? So when he's asked to draw this diagram of human skeleton, he like and draws it this way, where that skeleton is actually dancing. Okay, and he's able to draw it very well. Okay, just on the humorous side. And then this is about Swadharma, like you love something, and what you love, if world also needs you, it is like this, what you love mission and what the world needs. I am talking about that part of this diagram. So when you love something and that is also needed by the world, then that becomes your mission. Going down, like what the world needs and what you can get paid for. Like there is a need that world feels for this particular thing, and it is willing to pay also. So if you get this kind of a if your swadharma falls in this category, then it becomes a vocation. And going ahead, like what you are good at and what you can get paid for, then it becomes your profession. And the intersection of what you love and what you are good at, it becomes your passion. So this is about swadharma or whatever you like. And then this is something from Mahatriya. Find a work that gives you the inner expression. You will find happiness in it. Inner expression here means your inherent liking for something. So if you are able to find a work that which is according to your inherent tendencies, you will find happiness in it. Make the world recognize the value you add through your work, and you will find success in it. Use your success to serve the world, you will find purpose in it. And when your work gives you happiness, success, as well as purpose, you will find God in it. And this is by Mahatriya. Very beautiful. And if we are able to find our Swadharma, you will actually reach this stage and you will enjoy your life. Actually, you start living your life once you find your Swadharma. And like some of the people, like they find it at a very, very young age. Like Sachin Tendulkar, like he had a liking for cricket. And like when we were discussing about different professions, Like if Sachin Tendulkar's parents would have decided to make him an engineer, he would have been a big failure and India would have lost a great cricketer. Okay, so that's why like some people find it at a early age, very young age, and I would say they are blessed people, whereas there are some people who find it at a later stage in life, and even if you find you need to have courage to get into that particular Swadharma, and then there are some who never find it. Okay, so that is about Swadharma, and we have come to the end of this session. Sorry. Okay, let me stop sharing. Okay. Okay, Chanda, you joined late. Okay.
Yeah. I was, I remember till 10 to 7, and then I just slipped from my mind till I saw it was 10 past 7. So
Okay, Nirmala ji also joined late today. These are
Because I met Chanda in person today.
oh, is it?
I was in Chembur, some work
Oh, very
from
good.
Powai. So I'm supposed to see her long back. So I told her today I'll pass by. So
Very
both
good.
of us were late because of that. I
Okay,
met
so this is
Chanda for
about
the first
further.
time in my life. Na?
Face
Oh,
to
okay, yeah,
face.
I know, I know.
Face to
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Face to face.
Yeah.
Meeta ji,
That's
I've
good.
seen. Uma, I know from childhood. Rest of the people.
Okay, good. So this was about Swadharma, and like this is almost like what is it called? Vocational training or something. Like there are institutes who try to find out like what profession you should choose. They give you
That
some
pie chart
questionnaire.
was very good, but the quotation was excellent.
Yes.
I know.
Yes. Yes.
Matriya is always good. He just
Yeah.
pinpoints to the essence of that. Yes.
Virat, tell me what the varnas that you have. What varna will a cook be belonging to?
Oh, last one, yeah, worker.
Worker.
I mean,
Not
it can be
not
both ways.
the trader.
Somebody
Not
who's
but not the trader, because he's
not
trading
trader,
in
not
food
trader.
business. No.
Trader. I mean, even cook, like there can be two types. Chef
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
first category.
Yeah.
Good thinker. He is able to prepare the
That is
recipe
what
and
I
all
meant.
that.
The higher
Yes.
level chefs.
Yeah, that will be
Mhm.
like
Hmm?
Brahman or like intellectual. But then there are those who like take that recipe and just execute it to the T and make dishes. So that will be the last category.
So when a lady of the house is cooking, what dharma she is doing? Then she is doing the upar wala or niche wala?
That depends on whether she likes
Then she
cooking.
should tell the family, I don't want to do this tamasic thing. Khana khao, nahi khana mat khao.
Tamastic thing nahi hai. I mean, it is like if there are ladies who like to cook, so they are following their Swadharma.
One sees WhatsApp and is cooking mechanically is in the last category.
Yeah. First category or last category? First category, then you are innovative. You will make new kinds of dishes and all that.
Generally, ladies like to feed the family. That means the first category.
Yeah, and one is that's why
Take
like
care
both the shlokas are important. You have to do your duties irrespective of your likes or dislikes. So if you may not be liking cooking, but then Bhagavan also says that you have to do your duties. Yeah, okay.
Very nice.
All
Yeah.
right. It was a very good
So,
session, Viraj.
Very good session.
Nice.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So, record
Thank
stop.
you.
Did I record? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says REC
Yeah,
on
you
top
recorded.
here. It is saying REC.
I don't know. I thought I started the recording.
Yeah, it says cloud recording is on.
Oh, okay.
It's still recording is on actually.
Okay.
You can see that
Okay.
flickering.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So let us conclude with prayer.
Yeah, please.
Om Purnamad Purnamid Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you.